Hey guys, welcome back to YouTube Sunday School for Centenary United Methodist Church. It's so good to see you all again. Now, I want to bring you up to date on some of our happenings that we've got coming up, and just so that you will be ready for them and that you'll think about them and maybe add them to your calendars. On the 28th of October, on that Wednesday evening at 6:30, we're going to have a tabletop trick-or-treat that night. I know that's the time that we usually have our fall festival, but just circumstances are not going to allow us to do that this year, which I hate, but yeah, that's what it is. I will promise you though that in the spring we will have a festival of sorts, but we won't call it the fall festival, but it'll be exactly like it. So we'll have that at that time. But right now we're going to do a tabletop trick-or-treat. It will be safely distanced so that you'll be safe, and you'll go from table to table to table that have been decorated for Halloween, and you'll be able to pick up candy there. It'll be kind of like a trunk or treat, but it'll be out in the open, and it will be distanced apart, and you'll be able to pick up your candy at the end of the table. So we're looking forward to that, and hope that you'll join us for that, and bring some friends with you too if you'd like to, not too many, but bring some friends and wear your costumes. Now, what we are going to look at today is a story about a very special person in the Bible. And his name, to begin with, was Abram, but then it became Abraham. God changed his name. But Abraham, and I want you to pay attention to this, was a man of great faith. Whatever God told him to do, Abraham trusted him, even though there were things that he was like, oh, I'm not so sure about this. But there were things that he did. He trusted God when God called him to do something. And the other thing I want you to look at are the promises that God made to Abraham and how God kept all those promises, that God is a promise keeper. So right now we're going to watch and we're going to see how Abram became Abraham and how God shared his vision, what was going to happen to Abraham in the generations to come, and how God kept all of those promises. So here we go.
God picked Abram to be the father of a very important family. One day in the future, Jesus would be born into this family. God told Abram,
I will bless you with as many children and grandchildren as the stars, as many as the grains of sand on the beach. You will not be able to count them all. Abram, I want you to move to a new place. I will show you where to go.
So Abram started out walking. He took his wife, their nephew, and all their servants along. When Abram and his family came to the land called Canaan, God said,
This is your new home. I give it to you and to everyone who will ever be in your family.
When Abram was 99 years old, God changed his name to Abraham. His new name showed that he belonged to God. Not long after that, 3 men came by Abraham's tent, and he invited them to lunch. Abraham told his wife Sarah,
Sarah, bake some bread. I'm going to get some meat and cook it.
When the food was ready, Abraham brought it to his visitors.
Please, friends, sit down and eat.
When one of the visitors finished eating, he asked where Abraham's wife Sarah was.
She's over in the other tent.
The visitor said,
Next year, Sarah will have a baby.
but Sarah wasn't over in the other tent. She was just outside and heard what the visitor said. She laughed out loud. She couldn't believe it. I'm too old to have a baby, she thought. And Abraham is too old to be a father. In about a year, Sarah had a baby boy. just like God had promised long ago. Abraham named the baby Isaac, which means laughter.
Everyone who hears about my miracle will be happy with me.
Sarah was so happy she knew he was a gift from God. Abraham's son Isaac was all grown up.
So, Abraham was just a man that lived in a different country. And God called him to move, to pick up everything and move. And he moved with his nephew Lot and Lot's wife, and they moved to this new land. Abraham knew no one. He had basically what he carried with him, and he left behind a really wonderful, wonderful, wonderful life. But he trusted God, and he believed in what God was going to do when God promised him that his family would be as many as the grains of sand and the stars in the sky. And I don't know if you've ever picked up the sand before, but the grains are just millions and millions and millions of them. So it's amazing, absolutely amazing, to think about Abraham as the father of so many. Abraham became the father of the Jewish nation. That's where the Jewish nation, the Israelites, that's where they came from. And through that line came Jesus. So not only was he a father of the Jewish nation and Jesus, but he became the father of Christianity too. So though probably through blood we don't connect back to Abraham, we connect back to him through the fact that Jesus came through his line and Christianity came through there. So Abraham's faith is what allows us to believe as we believe today. And God kept the promise that he made to him. His son Isaac was born to Sarah and to Abraham when they were very, 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 very old. And Isaac was a wonderful, wonderful surprise to them. And from Isaac married and he had children, and then those children had children, and it grew and it grew and it grew and it grew. And it became a visual of God's promises, that he promised it, and there it was in front of them, the Jewish nation. So we can remember that our God is a promise keeper. And that's a wonderful lesson to learn from this. And we can look in the Bible and we can see the promises that have already been kept by God. We can also look in the Bible and see the promises that are yet to be kept, the ones that are in a future time. And we can know that they will be kept too, because God is a promise keeper. And looking at Abraham, we can look at his faith that he had. Whenever God called him, he trusted him. He showed his faith in God. And by showing his faith in God, it was an example to you and I of how we need to trust and have faith in God. We don't see God, we can't see him. We can feel him and we can know that he is around us. And we can have that kind of faith. Faith in the unseen, but faith in the known, which is God. I hope to see you all soon. Y'all have a great week and take care. Love you much.